Hi guys, so welcome to another session of Tech with Martins, and yeah, today we'll be looking at a very interesting topic in Amazon relational database services, and the topic is blue-green deployment. Okay, and so what is blue-green deployment? I want to give you a background on blue-green deployment for you to kind of understand and in basics, right? Um, Normally, all database administrators always face this issue of downtime in carrying out database. Could be database upgrade, could be database modifications. Like maybe you want to modify the upgrade, you want to modify the version, you want to modify the parameter group, the storage, all those modifications that require downtime, right? Or remember, all modifications that require your instance to have downtime is a very big problem. So the blue-green deployment came into limelight to solve that problem. So the blue-green deployment gives you the opportunity to carry out database modifications without downtime. Like the downtime is really minimal, right? Within kind of less than a minute, you should be able to do the upgrade and switch over without any problem. Okay. So why blue green deployment? Like, let me give you a background about the blue green deployment. Naturally, from the beginning, the goal of the blue green deployment was specifically for major version upgrades. Okay, was specifically for major version upgrade because normally when you're doing a major version upgrade of your RDS instance, you expect major downtime. So the instance has to be on down. It has to incur downtime, irrespective of what RDS engine you are running on. Okay, so AWS developed this blue-green deployment to solve that problem. Okay, to solve that problem of downtime. It therefore means that with blue-green deployment, you can upgrade your database maybe from, let's say, Postgres version 13 to version 14 without with like reducing the downtime like drastically. And the downtime, I mean, we can even say downtime is really minimized to few seconds to minutes. Okay, and yeah, so what are the capabilities of blue-green deployment? All database administrators, you must understand the capabilities, but it's as simple as that, as I explained, that uh, if you intend, remember, just imagine you are in a production environment. Okay, you are in a production environment and you need to do some major database changes. Let's say you want to change parameter group, you want to upgrade the major version, you want to change your storage, you want to change your instance class, you want to change like major engine configurations, and that database is a production instance, and maybe your CTO has told you they do not want any downtime for this RDS instance because your SLA requires the production to be running 24/7. So at this juncture, you have conflicting issues, right? We have two conflicting issues. We have to handle. One, maintain the production database to be functioning, and secondly, we are also obliged to do the upgrade or to do the changes. So that's the problem. So the blue-green deployment comes into work that out. Okay. So when they talk of blue-green deployment capabilities, just know that it is used for major changes in your data in your RDS instance with little or no downtime. Okay, and yeah, as I explained, the goal at first behind this was for major version upgrade of your RDS instances. Okay, so let's move forward. Yeah, so the key points to note about blue-green deployment is um, you just need to understand how it works by nature as a database administrator. You just need to know like what technology, first of all, it uses. The very first thing you need to know is that the blue-green deployment uses replication technology. That's the first thing. When you understand that it uses the replication technology, you'll be able to troubleshoot and handle major issues or problems that arises during your blue-green deployment. Okay, it uses replication technology. Now, irrespective of your engine, whether it's for Postgres, you're going to use logical replication. Okay. For MySQL, it's going to it uses bin log replication. Okay. So that is one thing you should know. And another thing I always tell people to take special care when diving into Blue-Green deployment is limitations. Always understand, always try to dig further and understand the limitations, right? Because sometimes you will be performing your Blue-Green deployment and you find yourself in an error and you need to come to us and I will tell you that, oh, it's because of this limitation. Is simply because you did not read the limitations or see what limitations AWS provides for you. Okay. Then, very first thing for you to be able to have an idea on Blue-Green deployment, it's always good to getting started. Getting started, I recommend going to the documentation. Okay. So let's just today we are going to go a bit deeper into getting started with Blue-Green deployment. So I'll lead you throughout this documentation. Okay. Yeah. So this is the Blue-Green deployment documentation. Okay, so you can just go search RDS Blue-Green deployment. You're going to see this overview. Okay, and you have an overview of it. What I'm so interested in, guys, you can see, like, look at the topics, look at the regions and availability. These are things you should be able to understand. Benefits of Blue-Green deployment, yes, important. The workflows is good to know. Authorization. Then, most importantly, understand the limitations. Okay, then you can also look at best practices. See, AWS provides you all this information. So yeah, I want to go straight to the workflows, right? So so that you should be able to understand what happens, right? So you have your production environment. It's called the blue. This is your production environment. You call this the blue, okay? Where you have application, your is let's call it your live environment. Applications are having read write access into it. Then you create a blue green deployment. Look at what happens. The production environment, right? Like there is what's called logical replication. This is Postgres. Let's say in case of Postgres, this production environment is replicated. Like everything is replicated as it is in the production. Like call this environment now the staging environment, or you call it the green. Like there is a total replication of that entire environment called staging, called green. Okay, why? The fact is that why this replication is happening, since it's using logical replication, there is no downtime, there's no problem, there is no traffic, there's no problem with connectivity or downtime in your application. Yeah, you're just replicating the entire environment to another set of cluster, okay, without application traffic being interfered. Yeah. So now at this juncture, when you get your when you get this staging environment green, when you get this your green environment, you can do some testing. Like you can decide to try testing application. You connect to it, you connect to this, do the read, do some read, get some read access, do some testing, see if applications can connect properly, check if the upgrades you did, probably it was on a major version upgrade that you did, or maybe you change the instance class, or maybe you change something. So you can now even do some testing while your production environment is still functioning without any problem. So you do the testing here, you do the testing of whatever thing you changed here, and when everything is okay, now you now do what's called switch over. Okay, you now switch over. So what happens with switch over is that the when you switch over, the replication is cut off. Okay, you stop the replication, and the new green environment, the green environment, which was first of all, which is the new environment that was replicated to, is now promoted. Okay, is now promoted to become the new production environment. This becomes this sorry, this environment, which was first of all blue, it becomes a like a deprecated environment, and now your new environment becomes the green. Okay, and now replication between both of them is cut off. You now have a new blue environment, or call it the green environment, and an old environment which has already been deprecated. Okay, yeah. So at this juncture, you can, if you like, you can still enable logical deprecation between the two environment and keep functioning, or you can now delete the old environment. Okay. So that's a bit about the blue-green deployment, and yeah. So I want us to go to just look at some sort of limitations. Very important. You can try to look at limitations of blue-green deployment, and these limitations, you have general limitations, you have limitations for MySQL, limitation for Postgres, and so on and so forth. So you should be able to understand these limitations. Sometimes they'll tell you logical the green environment like this. Data definition language like DDL statements are not supported, such as create table, create schema aren't replicated from the blue environment to the green. Okay, so just simply telling you that you should not do DDL. As simple as that. Okay, so these are limitations that they obviously give you pertinent information. Okay, guys, so we are going to be moving to our AWS Management Console. I'm going to demonstrate this blue-green deployment in major version upgrade. Okay, so we are going to do a major version upgrade of our RDS instance using blue-green deployment, and I will show you how application traffic is still maintained without any issue. Okay, guys, so in my management console, you can see I have a Postgres RDS instance. Okay, and yeah, let's say this is my production RDS Postgres instance, and I've been asked to do a major version upgrade. So let's look at the version right now. There is version. Look at the configuration. Okay, so you see the engine version is 14.20. Okay, so let's say our CTO has obliged us to move this version to, let's say, version 17. This is a major version upgrade that by default, whether you're using in-place upgrade, whether you're using re-replica to promote, is going to obviously cause you downtime. Okay, so we are going to try this using a blue-green deployment. Like, we're going to upgrade this version 14.20 to major version 17 using blue-green deployment. Okay, so now as a database administrator, I will not just normally, I know you can just click and say, okay, create blue-green deployment. You see, if you can go to action and you create, yeah, it's fine. But this is not the best. This is not the best way as a database administrator for you if you want to actually study what it is. The best thing you need to do is you go to AWS documentation. First of all, go to AWS documentation and see what AWS tells you, like the prerequisite you required for you to create a blue-green deployment as far as RDS Postgres is concerned. Okay, so I'll just go to my browser and search for those prerequisites. Yeah, so I'll just simply go to my blue-green deployment documentation. I search creating blue-green deployment for Amazon RDS. Okay, and you see preparing your environment, specifying changes, loading, creating blue-green deployment. Okay, so I'll move down to preparing for Postgres since I want to prepare that for Postgres. So I'll see preparing an RDS Postgres DB instance for a blue-green deployment. It's very important. So you can now read and see what AWS says. What does AWS says about that? So AWS is telling you that preparing RDS Postgres instance for blue-green deployment. So before you create a blue-green deployment, the very first thing, since you use logical replication, make sure the following list of versions are required. One, associate your RDS custom parameter group with logical replication. So you see, RDS logical replication need to be turned on. This is very normal because as I told you, blue-green deployment uses logical replication. So you need to turn on logical replication in your RDS instance. Okay, and they said because blue-green deployment requires at least one background worker for database, make sure you tune the following parameters. Yeah, for those who understand replication very well, you know that these are parameters for replication. Max replication so gives you like the number of replications that your instance can hold. Maximum wall senders, like the walls that can be sent, number of walls that can be sent from your primary to your replica. Maximum logical replication workers, like the background workers that does what's called logical decoding, max worker processes, and so on. So you need to tune these based on the number of subscriptions that you have, right? So because if you have 10 databases or 20 databases, you need to make sure your maximum replication sorts are there are at least more than 10. Okay, maybe 15. By default, it will be 20. Okay, so you need to tune this all of this based on your subscriptions. Your subscription years are the number of databases that will be subscribing. Okay, all right. So for this case, I have just one database, so the default tuning will be enough for me. So depending on the number of databases that you have, like number of subscriptions that you have, when you talk of database here, I'm talking about subscription that you have. So if you have 50 databases, you need to tune these parameters. The default parameters will not are not going to work. Okay. Um, yeah. So guys, just to quickly show you how you do this parameter changes. Okay. So let's first look at formula, which is very important. So my quick calculation. First thing is normally, let's take for example you have a database like 105 databases. Okay, the formula is that one maximum replication slot. Now like I choose 115. Okay, why do I choose maximum replication slot 115? So first I said I took all the databases plus reserve, that's 105 plus maybe some sort of 10, making 115. Okay, so now like the reason why I said 150 is accepted because at least it cover all the number of subscriptions. Obviously that's the number of databases plus an additional 10. Okay, then Maxwell senders 125. Now why do I accept that formula? Normally max replication slot 100 should be like it should be normally max wall center should be greater than max replication slot, right? So I can see that my max wall centers 125 is greater than max replication slot, which I set for 115. Okay. Yeah. So the next one is max replication, max logical replication worker. I took 120. Okay. Normally, as I said, normally you can. This is a formula like take number of databases plus additional workers for table synchronization parallel, right? So I took 120. Normally 120 is greater than 105. So max application workers 130. That makes a lot of sense. And max logical replication workers uh, normally like max worker processes is 130. So the formula is normally it should be greater than logical replication workers plus one, right? And our max logical replication workers 120 plus one, 121. That's why this replication configuration is okay for a subscription of let's say for a subscription of 105 databases, okay, or let's say subscription 105 subscribers, okay. That's this configuration is fine. So you can quickly screenshot this. Very important configurations for you to understand for logical replication to work very well. This is how you need to configure your max replication slot, logical workers, how it's being configured, okay. And the formula is there. You can screenshot it and use it for your own it's standard, so you can use it for your own replications and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to our console and do the blue-green deployment. Okay. Yeah, guys. So we are now in our AWS management console, and so the very first thing, remember, we're supposed to first enable logical replication, right? We're supposed to enable logical replication. That's the first thing. So we need to go create a custom parameter group and enable logical replication to be one. Okay, RDS logical replication. Then, as I said, these parameters I've already shown you how to tune them. I will not tune them because I have just one database, right? The default of 20 will be okay for me. Okay. So we go now to our RDS instance. We go to parameter groups. We need to create a custom parameter for our logical replication. Remember, we are in Postgres 14. So we call this logical replication, or let's call it Blue-Green deployment. Okay. BG deployment. Call that BG deployment. And maybe same description. create background blue green, just call it blue green, no problem. So that's the description. Select RDS Postgres. RDS Postgres. So you select Postgres, and the version we have, remember, was 14. So Postgres 14, and we create that. Remember, you select, you say database parameter group, not cluster, and you create a parameter group. Okay. So we have created our custom parameter group. Then we need to now modify what RDS has required us to do. So we need to go to edit, right? Go to edit, and so this, when you click edit, you search the logical replication. So RDS logical replication. Try to search logical replication. So you see RDS logical replication. This parameter is 0, showing that the replication is not enabled. Okay, so we need to make this 1. When you change this, and you're actually setting this to 1, right? Then now you save changes, like you have actually done the first thing that AWS is telling you to do. And now we need to associate this custom parameter. Remember, we just created this custom parameter. We need to associate this custom parameter with our RDS instance. So we now um, edit our uh, we now edit let's edit our instance. So go to modify, and move down to additional here. Then you move down to additional configuration. Then you select the blue-green deployment, okay, for logical replication. And yeah, that's fine. You can easily confirm that edit, and you see apply immediately, and you modify. Okay. So now we are being modified. The instance is being modified to, actually, because we have set logical replication to 0. And I know that people will be like, "Oh, this is production. What are we going to do?" By nature, by default, normally all instances, you are advised to use custom parameter groups. Those who have been following me, you know that I've been telling you to use custom parameter groups. Even if you want to use default parameters, use custom parameter groups, so that in case of any modification, in case it's something you need to modify, you just do the modification rather than doing modification then associating and causing downtime and a lot of that. Okay. Yeah, so we'll wait for that to modify. And logical replication parameter is a static parameter, so you need to reboot the instance again. Okay. So yeah, I just associated that. So if you move to configuration, you're going to see that this parameter, you're going to be seeing pending reboot, right? Because it's a static parameter. Okay. And yeah, so we need to reboot this instance. So I go to action and reboot. Then reboot confirmation. So yeah, our instance has been rebooted, and the first prerequisite has been met. Remember, the second prerequisites are parameter tuning to make sure that replication works properly. That is not necessary for this case, because I have just one database, so the default of 20 and all those default parameters for logical replication is going to work. Logical workers are going to work perfectly without any problem. Okay, so what I will do is that I am going to connect to my RDS instance. Okay, let's say this production. I'm going to connect to my RDS instance. Even if I connect to my RDS instance, I can still connect, and I am doing maybe activities are ongoing, and I'm able to create this blue-green deployment. Okay. Yeah, so let me authenticate to this RDS instance. Okay, let me authenticate. So you can see that you can be doing that while production activities are ongoing without any problem, and I mean you'll be okay. Sorry, connection to server. Try that again. Okay, so authenticated to this database. Let's be maybe just be running some queries. Let's say /ls. Okay, so not ls /l to list all the databases. Okay, so you see, I'm able to list all databases, and now moving to my other screen, I'll be able to do the blue-green deployment here without any issue. Okay, and why the blue-green deployment will be progressing, I'm still going to get into this instance, and I'll be performing some one or two things to actually explain to you guys what is really happening. Like, you can create this blue-green deployment, you do changes while your production environment is still ongoing, receiving traffic, serving application traffic, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's move to the console and go ahead with the plugin deployment. Yeah, so I'll select the instance, go to action, then go to create the plugin deployment, and you can see DB instance must have backup enabled to create a plugin deployment. Yeah, this is because when I was creating my RDS instance, I did not want to enable backups. Okay, but normally for a production database, you must enable backups. So let me go and enable the backups. Okay. Okay, guys, so I've successfully enabled backups. So I'll go to action, uh, create blue-green deployment, and you can see very well you have your blue-green deployment. What's a blue-green deployment name? Let's just call that blue-green deployment 1. Okay, and now you're going to see your engine configurations. You have blue-green deployment. That's a blue, which is a current instance. Okay, the current instance is having 14. Okay, and the green, that is the new instance. I want it to be 17. Okay, you see what's happening now. You can choose if you have other changes to make, like maybe changing the instance class, changing the storage type, changing any other information. You can go ahead and change that. So I'll just go to next instance. My goal was to change the to upgrade this instance. Okay, so I'll hit next, and you're going to see connection overview. Look at what is going on. There is a blue-green deployment that is created, and there's replication between that's the blue instance to the green. Okay, but what is going to actually happen, you can see modifications. Look at this. DB instance, right, has been has the previous instance, which is the blue, was having Postgres. Now we are moving to Postgres. The engine version was 14.20. We are moving to 17 for the green, right? Parameter group was blue green. Now we are moving to default. You could also change this, no problem. Like, you could change all of these parameters if you wanted. You could change that. Okay. Okay. So for my case, I'll just go to create, and you can see that your blue green deployment is being created. If you go to databases, yeah, cool. So you can see that the blue-green deployment actually failed. So yeah, this is part of the this is part of the show. So let's go see details. Why did this blue-green deployment fail? So you see, they said the current parameter group associated with the blue-green deployment, as a blue-green, is not the default. You need to specify a new parameter group, default or custom, for the instance when creating the blue-green deployment. Okay, so this is because if you notice, you can hit in the comment section, please. Hit in the comment section if you actually got the right thing. Let's go to the issue again. So the current parameter group associated with the blue instance, that's the blue green, is not the default. You need to explicitly specify a new parameter group That's default or custom for the green instance, which when creating a blue-green deployment with the target engine version options sets to an engine version that's different from the blue instance. Okay, so I already know the answer, but if you knew the answer, you can hit in the comment section. Okay, so yeah, so the issue here is, remember, when we're creating our blue-green deployment, we didn't change, like we didn't select a default. We use a default parameter group, right? For the Postgres version 17, which is wrong, right? Because we have a custom parameter group for Postgres version 14. Not normally AWS is telling you for a higher version, you need to also create a custom parameter group for that new version. So we're supposed to create another custom parameter group for the new version and use it to associate with our instance. Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll just rush and create a custom parameter group for version 17. So go to parameter group. Let me check. Okay, so I already have a parameter group here for version 17. Okay, I'll use this custom parameter group for the upgrade. Okay, yeah. So I will go back to in the databases. So I go to action, create blue-green deployment, cancel these, and confirm that. Now version 17. Now I'll need to choose, you see, blue-green deployment, a custom parameter group for version 17. Okay, so that was what the error was saying, and all these ones, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine, and next. And you can see now the changes. What are the changes? See what's happening? Here you're changing the Postgres version, and you are also like you had a custom parameter group. This another custom parameter group again. It's no longer default. This was the problem. So this was supposed to be a default. Okay, a custom parameter group. Okay, yeah. So at this juncture, you can hit create blue-green deployment, and you just wait to see. Okay, so the blue-green deployment has started and it's progressing. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video until the blue-green deployment is complete. Okay, guys. Yep. Yeah, guys. Something very important. Since we spoke about blue-green deployment being created, and you're able to still perform some like database operations in your normal green instance without any problem. So I will authenticate to my RDS instance. Okay, so we can let me rephrase this again. Okay, so you can see that the blue-green deployment is in process, and you see you have your blue environment, which is normally our current RDS instance. We have a new green environment, which you call it the staging, right? This blue-green is just the process, like it's just the activities, right? So I will authenticate to my RDS instance. So let me share, and I'll be why this process is this blue-green deployment is being created. I can still have my database activities ongoing in the blue without any problem, right? So let me share my screen. So you're seeing my screen. I'm connected to the the blue environment. Okay, so I'll try to clear my screen. So clear my screen. Yeah, let's. Okay, so I've cleared my screen. Our blue-green deployment is ongoing, and I want to have other like I want to let's try to have database operations, right? So at this juncture, maybe let's list databases. Okay, so \l. Sorry, I think I need to authenticate again. So let me authenticate again because TCP keep alive had already dropped it. So yeah, so you see I can authenticate, and the RDS instance is ongoing. The blue-green deployment is ongoing. I can like perform database operations without any problem. I can make you see I'm perfectly doing my database operations. I can maybe I don't even have a table. Maybe you can go with describe maybe schemas, right? And I don't have any schema yet. And maybe if I have indexes, can right, can just TI. Yeah, I don't have any indexes. Like you see that you can at this juncture you're able to perform database operations. You have read requests. You can because the blue environment is there. The only thing connecting both the blue and the green is the logical replication. So this environment is there for you to keep serving application. Okay. Yeah. So guys, mhm. Let's move and see if the blue-green deployment is complete. Yeah, guys. So you see that the blue-green deployment was provisioned, and now the green environment is now upgrading. Okay. So you are now upgrading. Why? Because this blue, remember our blue uh, our blue was version 14, okay, and we are upgrading a green environment to version, normally it's still version 14, but it's going to be upgraded to version 17 as we choose, okay. So and it's currently being upgraded, and as you can see at this juncture, you see that the blue environment is still very active and available for applications to be talking to be sending read IOPS input and Apple requests without any problem while you are performing a very important database administration activity like upgrading. Okay, at this juncture, you're upgrading the database. Your activities are still ongoing without any problem at the level of the blue, right? Yeah. So let's wait for it to get upgraded. Okay, guys. So as you can see, the plugin deployment is active, the green environment is active. Let's go and look at the version of the green environment which we upgraded through plugin deployment. So you go to configuration and you scroll down. Let's hit configuration, select the green. So see the green environment has been upgraded to version 17. Major version upgrade has been performed. Okay. And at this juncture, you can see that the role, this blue is a primary, this other blue is another primary. Okay, excuse me. So they are both primaries, and there's a replication. Like let's say during this upgrade, there were some database, like there's some changes that were performed in this green blue. Okay, those changes will be replicated to the green without any problem. Okay, then now what you are left to do now is you need to wait maybe on in a maintenance window, some sort of, I mean, just a recommendation to make sure that you do the switch over in a period where there's low traffic for precautionary motive, right? Because you don't know anything can happen. So you look for a maintenance window and you come in and do a switch over. What is a switch over? A switch over is simply promoting the green instance, okay? You're simply promoting this green instance to become the production live available instance, okay? When you promote it, AWS is going to do the CNAME itself. The DNS routing are going to be performed, and you do not need to rename, you do not need to do anything, you just need to switch over. They are going to add a prefix to this blue. They'll add a prefix that all, and this green instance now is going to take this exact name as the blue. Okay, so the name of the renaming will be done by AWS. Okay, the blue, the current blue will be renamed with the prefix old, and the new, which is the green instance, will be renamed with the old name of the normal RDS instance. Okay, yeah. But guys, you can also search in AWS documentation best practices for switchover, because it's always good to before you carry out a major action like switchover, blue-green deployment, try to search documentation on best practices, because there's one best practice that you must check, like replica lock, right? Remember this replication that is ongoing between these two, and if you switch over when this green is having a huge replica lag, it may fail and it's going to cause issues. So monitor and make sure that there is no replica lag between the two before you switch over. So there are a lot of best practices. You can just go to the web and search best practices for AWS Blue-Green deployment switchover. Okay. Yeah. So let's consider that we are in a maintenance window. So I'll go to my Blue-Green deployment and I go to action and you can see switchover. Okay. So what does this switchover do? As explained, the switchover is going to promote the green to become your live RDS instance. Okay. So we go to switch over. You see what is happening. You're actually switching over. Look at what is happening. Look at the versions. You've changed the like the blue. It was 14. The green database now is 17, which you are switching this to this, right? So and so you switch over. So when you click on switch over, look at what is going to happen. So it's switching over. The Blue-Green deployment has changed to switching over, and we can count how many minutes this takes. Remember, guys, there's some sort of downtime during this cutover, but it's very minimal. Okay, so we can count in this 54. So let's see if we can take up to a minute. Okay, not a minute yet. Few seconds. I'm counting. So let's look at the switchover period. Okay, so less than 1 minute, so less than few seconds, successfully switch over. That's fine. And what happened to the switch over when you refresh? As I said, AWS do the renaming, okay, for you, and let's see what happens. Yeah, so you can see what's happened. You already have a live environment already going rapidly, right? Your live environment has already been established. Remember, this live environment, as I explained to you, don't get confused. This was a former green. This was first of all green. It was first of all green, but it was promoted. Okay, it was promoted and renamed, right? So much so that the application team will not be requesting for another endpoint. So the naming has been done by AWS, and AWS has added old to the previous blue. This one was first of all a blue that was over here. Now it has been renamed to old. If you check this version, if you check this version, the old blue, it is still version 14.14, right? But if you see the current blue that is active, which is our live version, we have we have upgraded to 17. Okay, so we have upgraded our database instance and switch over, and applications keep functioning without any problem to version 17. Okay, so this is the magic of blue-green deployment, and I recommend everybody to look at this. Very important. Okay. Okay, guys, one last thing before we go. Remember, for Postgres, this is for RDS Postgres and Aurora Postgres. This is the formula for logical replication. Okay, what do you need to know for logical replications parameter? I just want to emphasize on this. You can screenshot this and put it in your logbook or in your run book. This case, I considered having some sort of I consider that this person, like, I took the case of 105 databases, okay, and you had to set maximum replication slot. I set the maximum replication slot for 115, which is greater than the 105 databases. Max wall senders, I put 125, which is greater than 115. Max logical replication workers, I put 120, which is greater than 115. Okay, and max worker processes, I put 130, which is also greater than 105. Okay, but the formula you need to take note, which I explain, is that for max replication slot, the formula is all databases plus reserves, right? So I took 105 plus some few that give 115. Max wall senders, the formula is that it should be greater than maximum replication slots, right? That's all. So you need to know sure, okay, if we had maximum replication slot of 115, what value? So we can just add 5 to become 125. And for maximum replication workers 120, the formula is that it should be all databases plus additional workers for table synchronization parallel. Okay, and databases we had 105, and you add some parallel workers, right? So making 120. The max worker processes 130. The formula is that it should be greater or equals to maximum logical replication worker plus 1. Okay, so you take maximum logical replication worker plus 1, and that's fine. So this is a standard way of managing replication parameters as far as blue-green deployment is concerned. You can see those parameters there. Okay, guys. So this is the end of this presentation today. And yeah, as I said, my name is Martin. I'm a database cloud support engineer for Amazon Web Services, and yeah, I'll be doing this from time to time. As previously indicated, I was on vacation, but vacation, I'm done with vacation. So I'll keep on giving back to the community with these videos. And if you're a database administrator, if you're a cloud engineer, if you're a developer, interested in understanding how databases works, or databases, okay, I'll be treating both Postgres, MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, all of them, okay. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure that anytime I'll upload a video, you'll be able to get it, okay. um Next time we'll be kind of looking at maybe performance tuning and other, right? Okay, guys, see you. Bye.